welcome in to your weekly dose of Trainer Talk Tuesday. And today we have a very important topic because I feel that it's something that everyone can truly benefit from. And we are going to discuss how you can improve your relationship with food. So if you are somebody who just gets stuck in this world of dieting, or if you're someone who punishes yourself when you don't make the food selections that you want to make, when you make bad food choices, or if you're someone whose weight is just constantly up and down, or you're just someone who wants to live a healthier lifestyle, but emotional eating is really holding you back, then this is really an important episode of Trainer Talk Tuesday for you to tune in and listen to. So we're going to get right into it, guys. The first step is the most important step. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about this one because if this one is not in alignment, then all the other things we're going to discuss later on, it's not going to work. They're not going to matter because this one really is truly the foundation of everything else. And so it's very important to make sure that we take the time to not only understand what this first step means and what it entails, but also the time to allow it to be effective in our lives. So the very first one is, if you want to improve your relationship with food, you need to love and understand your body. And I think oftentimes this is preached in modern day society where we need to love our body, right? And I am a huge advocate of that as well. I will say that the difference between mindset and the worldly mindset is that love comes with accountability. Love comes with boundaries. And it's very important to love ourselves and love our body where we currently are at, but know that if we are not making decisions that are conducive for a healthy lifestyle and that are best for our body to function at its optimal level, then we are truly not loving our body. We need to put our body in a position to heal and to be nourished and to be successful in order to love it, because to love something is to know it and to understand it. And a lot of us do not love our bodies because we do not understand our bodies. We do not know our bodies, and we do not listen to our bodies when it tries to talk to us. So to love our body means that we, yes, love its current state, but it also means that we need to love what it can do, love its potential, and we need to feed that potential in order for it to grow. So we love our bodies for waking us up every morning. We love our bodies because it houses our hearts, and our heart chooses to beat every single day so we can wake up. We love our legs because our legs carry our weight and they allow us to walk. They may allow us to run and to climb, or they're at least capable of doing so. We love our bodies for what it does and what it can do despite the neglect and abuse that we constantly put it under. So we love our bodies for that reason. And we also need to know our body. We need to understand our body and how it responds to food. So this is going to get into listening to our body and its natural cues that it gives. And I think oftentimes we don't love our bodies the way that we preach love. So for example, guys, if a person is, let's say your best friend, okay? Your best friend is in a toxic, abusive relationship with another person. And that is so clear for you and for everyone else to see. And as the best friend, you say, why don't you leave? You're so much better than that. You deserve so much better. Why don't you just quit and walk out? Why don't you start fresh? All right? Like, this is common advice that we give people when they're in a toxic relationship, but we don't think that same way in terms to our body, because we are the abusers in that situation. And nobody wants to be viewed as an abuser, but that is true. We abuse our body every day. And then we expect our body to keep performing and to keep doing the things that it's supposed to do when we're constantly abusing it. And the reality is, just like you told your best friend, like, just quit, just leave, just walk out. Eventually, our bodies are going to do the same. They're going to give out, they're going to quit, they're going to walk out on you because you are not treating it with love. So we need to listen to our body's cues and to understand what those things mean, because there's always going to be red flags, right? There's always going to be signs that your body is under stress, that it's in a toxic environment, and you ultimately have control over that. So to love our body is to know our body, is to understand our body. So you really need to ask yourself questions in regards to your nutrition and food about, why did I eat? All right? Why did I eat? And that may sound like a simple question, but honestly ask yourself that. Did you eat because you were truly hungry? Did you eat because this is just the only time you had available in your work schedule? Did you eat because you were bored? Did you eat because you were sad? Did you eat because you were mad? Did you eat because this is just the normal times that you eat and you just do it at these times every single day no matter what? And not only asking yourself, why did you eat, but you need to ask yourself, why did I eat that particular food? Why did I choose this meal, this food, this item? Was it because it was the only thing available? Was it because I truly enjoy this food? Was it because my body was craving this? Okay, we need to ask ourselves questions like this and really be honest with the answers. And then also we need to ask ourselves, well, after we've eaten that food and we identified why we chose to eat that particular food, we have to ask ourselves, well, how did that food make me feel? And this one is incredibly important, because this is really going to be the baseline of listening and understanding your body and knowing your body and being able to recognize and identify the signs and symptoms that it gives you, if it likes what you are feeding it or if it doesn't. So, how did it make me feel? Did it make you feel good? Did it make you lethargic? Did it leave you satisfied, or did you feel full and bloated? How did the food make you feel? So you really need to think about this long and hard, guys. And as I mentioned before, like in any toxic relationship, there's going to be red flags. You and your body, the relationship you have with your body is absolutely no different. So your body will give you red flags if it does not like what you are doing to it, if it feels like it's being neglected or abused in any type of way. And some of these signs can differ from person to person, but some things to pay attention to are going to be changes in your digestion. After you eat a particular food, do you have diarrhea? Do you go too much? Or do you not go enough and you have constipation? Do you have cramping, bloating, fatigue, just extreme feelings of being lethargic? Do you have a very productive high, and then very quickly you crash and you're feeling very low, depressed, anxiety? Also pay attention to like breakouts in your skin or on your body in general, right? If you're breaking out with acne or rashes, this is typically a sign that your body is under stress and it is in a toxic environment. These are just some of the few things to pay attention to, even like your sleep. Did what I eat keep me up all hours of the night, or did it knock me out early on in the day when I shouldn't be sleeping? Or did I get a restful night's rest? These are all things that we need to consider when it comes to forming a healthy relationship with the foods that we're consuming. So once we really get to this point where we can love our bodies for what they do for us every single day, despite the neglect we put it in, and we can understand our body by knowing how it reacts to certain foods, then everything else that we're about to get into is going to be much, much simpler. So once we have identified these things and we ask ourselves questions about the foods that we are consuming, and we're honest with ourselves, and we start transforming the way that we think to ways that are beneficial to our body, because we love our bodies, and when we love our bodies, or when you love anything, then you do right by them, then you value them, then you nourish them, right? So we have to love our bodies from that standpoint of giving it what it needs when it needs it. And then number 2 is, once you do all those things and you know that, you need to listen to your body, right? So if, for example, like me, I know based off of how I love my body and how I understand my body and listens to its cues, that my body does not like dairy. My body does not tolerate dairy. And so because I love my body and I understand my body and I know my body, I choose to listen to my body and I do not consume dairy. Okay, so we need to listen to our bodies. We need to give it what it needs. Now, in the same respect, a few years ago, I was completely plant-based, 100% vegan, which means I did not consume any dairy products, but I also did not consume any animal products. And I did that for a while, a couple of years, and I felt very well until I didn't. And at that point, I had to listen to my body, because my body was giving me cues that it needed and wanted animal protein. And I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with this, but that was a real life experience for me. And because I loved my body then, just as I love my body now, and I had an understanding of my body and the cues that it was giving me, I decided to consume animal protein, and I still consume it to this day. Now, I do pay attention to the quality of that animal protein. I do not eat certain types of animal protein because it does not align with what my body agrees with. But at that moment, I chose to listen to my body and give it something that I had not given it in many, many years, because it was telling me that it needed it. So, same respect, guys, you need to listen to your body. Even though at that time I was totally against animal protein and it went against everything that I was talking about and standing for, I made the choice to drown out all that noise and to listen to my body regardless, because it knew what it needed better than I did. All right, number 3, guys, is that you need to give yourself permission to eat things that you enjoy. Absolutely give yourself permission to eat the things that you enjoy. Now, this doesn't mean that we're going to eat, nothing but cookies, if you guys really love cookies, but it does mean that we do not put it on the don't eat list of I can't have this. There are actual studies that show that when you completely limit your nutrition, or it's more of a mental thing. When you tell yourself that I cannot eat this, that you're going to be more likely to have cravings and to binge on that very item that you have put on the do not eat list. So it's very important to allow ourselves permission to eat things that we enjoy, okay? To not completely remove things that our body may need at that time. And I am not an advocate of consuming a bunch of processed foods or sugar, so please do not mistake what I'm saying here. But sometimes it's necessary to have things that you enjoy during different periods of your life. So women, I'm going to give you an example that you guys can all relate to. During our menstrual cycle, okay, once a month, you may crave chocolate or sweets. It is okay to give yourself permission to eat one of those items during that time, something that you enjoy, all right? So it can help combat your mood swings and just the overall symptoms that you have that are related to your menstrual cycle. It is okay to give yourself permission to consume these things sometimes, right? It's also okay to give yourself permission to eat foods that you enjoy by recreating a healthier version of that food item. So, for instance, if you know that your body does not like dairy or it doesn't like gluten, but you really enjoy pizza, that doesn't mean that you don't have pizza ever again. It just means that your pizza may look different because we love our body, we respect our body, we understand our body, and therefore we listen to our body, so we do not give it gluten or dairy. But we can recreate the things that you enjoy, and you can keep on enjoying them in a way that still respects the balance of your body. All right? And I hope that makes sense for you guys. Number 4 is mindful eating. We have to practice mindful eating. So this goes back to listening to the cues that your body is giving you, but it also means that you eat with no distractions, that you really take in the experience of enjoying and consuming your food. So that means, turning off the TV. Maybe you sit down and you have a family dinner, and you remove those outside distractions where people maybe put their phones in a bucket and they put it to the side because it's family time. This is time for us to share and talk together and to enjoy one another's company as much as we are enjoying the food that we're eating. So completely eliminating distractions is mindful eating, allowing your body to chew your food and to send signals to your brain about what you like or what you don't like, regarding the texture of your food or the taste of your food, okay? These things are all very important. Hi, baby. You did take a nap. All right. Everybody, this is my little Cece girl. She's going to be joining us for the rest of the time here. So yes, mindful eating, no distractions when you eat, really breaking down and zeroing in on those food textures and tastes so you can identify what your body likes versus not. But this also goes back to mindful eating in regards to your thoughts and your words and your actions, because we know that all 3 of those things work together, because our thoughts eventually become our words and our words eventually become the things that we do. So how do you label food? How do you talk about food to yourself or to other people? Do you label food as good or bad food, right? I see this very frequently in the industry where people will say, well, I can't have that because that's bad. And I want you guys to get out of that mindset of good food and bad food. Because when we give food these types of labels, it gives it power that it does not deserve over our lives. Instead, try rewording the way that you view food and the way that you say things by, instead of saying, good food, this food nourishes my body, all right? This goes back to number 1. So I said all these things work together. Or this food is not in alignment with my body or my goals right now. This food provides nourishment for me. Or this food does not. This food makes me feel lethargic. So we need to change the way we view and we talk about food, because that is going to be a huge part of your success when it comes to reaching your overall goals, or just generally living a healthy lifestyle. Get rid of the, I can't have this because it's bad, or, I can only eat these things because they're good. And although, we want to have a diet that is full of things that are nourishing our body, because we love our bodies, we're going to give it what it needs. We don't want to label the other foods as bad, because when we do, then we are more prone to punish ourselves for consuming those foods. And like I said, there are going to be times where you are going to consume those foods, and you may even need to, because it might be more beneficial. And let me explain that more. If you are under a tremendous amount of stress, I am not advocating that you, eat an entire box of donuts, because that's just going to feed into that stress and that depression more. But allowing yourself and giving yourself permission to maybe have one donut or half a donut can help you feel better in the moment. And sometimes that is better, guys. Even though sugar is detrimental to our body, so is stress. And so we have to listen to our body, because we love our body, and give it what it is asking for sometimes, because it may be trying to balance out what is going on with the rest of your body, okay? So it may be trying to balance out the overload of stress that you are dealing with, and that might be something that is a better option in the moment, okay? Again, I hope this all makes sense to you. So we need to be careful about how we label food, how we talk about food to ourselves and to others, because we don't want to ever get in a position where we feel like we're punishing ourselves for food. And the way that we punish ourselves by eating quote unquote bad food is, you might say, well, because I had pizza, I'm not going to eat for the rest of the day. That is punishing yourself. It's ignoring hunger cues. It's really ignoring any cues that the body gives you just because you ate something that was on your bad list. And we still want to listen to our body during this time, even if we do something that it is against our body and against what it needs or what it is signaling for. That doesn't mean that that whole day or that whole week is ruined. We just accept the decision that we made, and we continue to love and honor our bodies anyway. All right, guys? Number 5 is having a mindset of abundance over deprivation. And this kind of goes into everything that we've been talking about. Because we love our bodies, we respect our bodies, and we give our bodies what it needs, which is going to be an abundance of whole foods, fruits, vegetables, water, because these are the things that our body, everybody needs, okay? Doesn't matter who you are, your genetic makeup, everybody needs fruits, vegetables, and water in abundance. And so when we give our body what it needs because we love it, and we give it to it in abundance, then we don't have to deprive ourselves on these other matters, okay? Because we're giving it what it needs so we can enjoy other things. And this goes back to that example about pizza. I don't have to be concerned if I eat something that does not align 100% with what my body needs, because I've already given it everything that it needs in abundance. The cup is overflowing with what it needs and what it has access to, so I don't need to beat myself up over something like that. So it's abundance over deprivation. We never want to deprive ourselves of things, especially if our body is giving us cues that we need it. All right, guys, number 6 is mind your plate. Very similar to mind your business, right? So this really goes both ways here. We want to make sure that you mind your plate, what's on your plate and the decisions that you're doing, and that align with what your body needs and the cues your body is giving you, because it may be very different from somebody else, or you may have a better understanding of what that looks like. So mind your plate means that you're not going to judge others, okay? If you are farther along in this journey, you're not going to look at somebody else and feel superior to them because of the food choices that you're making, okay? And in reverse here, if you feel like you're not as far along in that journey, if you feel like you don't truly love your body yet, or you don't understand it, or you're not able to recognize the cues that it's giving yet, and that this is really a struggle for you, we don't want to look at someone else's plate and say, well, I could never do that. I could never eat like that. I could never cook food that way. All right? We don't want to compare ourselves to others, because comparison is really a thief of joy. And also in the same respect, guys, when we mind our own plate, we don't need to give an explanation for what we eat to other people. You don't. You do not have to explain yourself to anyone, because you love your body, you know your body, you understand your body, and therefore you listen to your body, and so everything else is irrelevant. Nobody has to understand that. Nobody has to understand why you're choosing a salad over a hamburger, or why you're choosing a hamburger over a salad in that moment. Okay? Nobody needs an explanation for that. Nobody needs an explanation for why you don't consume certain foods, or why you do consume certain foods. You do not have to explain that to anybody, whether it's a social gathering, a night out with friends, or a holiday event. You do not have to feel pressured, and you are not obligated to share that information with anybody but yourself. All right, guys? So quick recap here. 6 ways that you can improve your relationship with food. Number 1, which is the foundation of everything, to make all the other steps fall in line, you need to love your body, understand your body, and listen to its cues, recognize its cues. And then number 2, you need to listen to those cues. So listen to your body and give it what it's asking for, what it needs. And truly give it what it needs, right? Because if we actually understand our body, then we can move intelligently, because eating well is an art, because we have to understand it. So we don't want to have misunderstandings. You may have good intentions, but misunderstand what your body is trying to say. So that's why number 1 is so important. You have to truly understand your body, and then listen to your body, number 2. Number 3, you need to give yourself permission to eat things that you enjoy sometimes, or even in abundance, to eat things that you enjoy, even if it may look different than traditional standards. Number 4 is you need to practice mindful eating, which means that we are very cautious about how we describe and label food, how we think about food, and therefore how we speak about food to ourselves and to others. Number 5, we need to have a mindset of abundance over deprivation. And number 6, you need to mind your plate, which means you do not judge others, and you do not have to give an explanation for why you choose certain foods. So guys, I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that it made sense to you. And please let me know in the comments if you plan, or if you have already started incorporating any of these steps. All right, guys, thanks again for tuning in for your weekly dose of Trainer Talk Tuesday. I'll see you here, same time, same place next week for another episode. And as always, never give up, never lose hope, never settle.